work in the Women's Success Center, and Tera Prestwich is going to be working in this session. She has a lot of experience with financial aid for students. Luke Dean, he has a Ph.D. He's here in the business school, and he's over the financial planning program. And he brought Timi to us, and I have not met Timi officially, but I have heard her name so many times that I went, this woman must be amazing. It's Timi Joy Jorgensen. She's the Associate Advisor for Core Financial. And so you can see that we have a really strong team here today to help you understand and to do better with the money that you have and to find money that you don't have. So I'm going to turn the time over to these people. Thank you so much for being here.
So like she said, my name's Timi Joy, and I'm really excited to be here and talk to you. So I got to out Luke for a second because he asked me, he said a couple months ago, hey, do you want to come talk to some like high school girls about money? And I'm like, yeah, sure. He said, okay, mark it on your calendar. This is when it is. No big deal. And then I started getting the emails from Susan, and I was like, oh, this is like a big deal, like lots of people to talk about money. So, but I'm really grateful for the opportunity. So I just graduated this last December from UVU, from their personal financial planning program. And I'm a mother. I have a 2.5-year-old daughter, and I'm married. I work as an associate advisor, like they said, at Core Financial. And what Susan was saying about a life of inclusion, about adding and as a woman instead of or. I can be a mother and a wife and a graduate and have a career, and I can have, it's kind of like your plate at dinner time. There should be lots of things with lots of different colors, lots of different foods, lots of different flavors. Your life can be like that, and we're going to talk a little bit about how college is going to help you with that. So I'm not really sure how to. Thank you, Tara. Okay, here we go. All right, so the title of our presentation today is Show Me the Money. Is college worth it for women? Specifically, is graduating from college worth it for women? So we're going to talk a little bit about the misunderstood college degree. And Susan did a whole, like she was saying, that's been 4 years now since she did the Utah Women in Education program. So all of this research is available. You'll have the citation, and you'll be able to get all of these access to all these slides. We'll tell you how to do that, so you can look up the research. It's fascinating. But what she found was really that women and girls in Utah did not understand the broad impact that a college degree can have on your life. They really thought, if I don't know exactly what I want to go to school for, and if I don't know exactly how I'm going to pay for it, and if I don't want to have kids or I don't want to get married, then I can go to, like, those were excluding factors. And that's not it at all. And there's a particular bias that if I just want to stay home and be a mom, I don't need to go to college. So we're going to talk just a little bit about why those things are not true. So these were some of the statistics, some of the things that they found in this study that it says slightly more than half understood the broad benefits of going to college, which is not enough. It should be everyone. Everyone should understand that college is important, that graduating specifically is important. It says 41% believed college could help them develop more self-esteem, self-awareness. I can tell you that my experience in college has been all about discovering the things that I like, the things that I don't like, developing skills in areas that I never thought I would develop skills in, and just feeling confident in my ability to develop skills in any area. If I want to do something, because I went to college, because you have to jump through hurdles and do assignments and interact with other people, you learn that really anything you want to do, you can do. You just have to decide you're going to do it, figure out how, and go for it. So it says 26% viewed college as something that could help them improve and develop. That's like 1 in 4 girls knew that they could improve and develop. That's not enough. I mean, everyone should feel like they have a million opportunities in their life, especially when you're just leaving high school. Nothing's decided yet. You can be anyone that you want to be, and college is a great way to help you figure that out. 20% believe they could use their degrees to teach their children and or be positive examples to them. So just by a show of hands, how many of you, if you had a baby today, would let a man who had just graduated from high school and had no other experience or education with children raise your child? Anybody? It's iffy. I agree. That's iffy. So why would that be any different for us? If we want to be a mother, would we ever say to ourselves, you know what, I think if I just graduated from high school, I'd definitely be ready to make another human and teach them everything that they need to know? Probably not. Probably not. We would say, I should read some books, I should take a class, I should ask other moms what they want to know, I should learn and grow and develop. And I know in my life experience, like, my mom is awesome. So I feel like I have a great mom, so I could be a good mom. Well, I'm a mom. I'm going to tell you that's not true, because it's way harder than it looks. So, and by the time you're a teenager and you're starting to figure this out, like, your mom already did all the hard stuff at the beginning, all the teething and diapers and tantrums and all of that stuff. She already figured that out. So you can't think that you're as smart as your mom when you graduate high school and you're ready to be a mom, because that's flawed thinking. So says 15% felt college would help prepare them to influence society or make a difference. And can I just tell you, society needs to be influenced. Your community needs you, your school needs you, your future kids need you, or your current kids need you. There are so many ways that this country, this state, your city, your school system could use your talents, could use your specific skill set. So this is a hugely important thing. Merely 12% noted the social benefits college could bring, including meeting a potential spouse. So I'm just saying, if your prospects on husbands are like the guy working the 7-Eleven counter, you might think about going to college, because there are much cooler people here. And they have prospects that are not working the counter at 7-Eleven for the rest of their life. So it's a great way to meet people. People who have the same interests as you, because they're in classes with you, or people that have different interests from you. So that's something to think about. And barely 8% noted that college could help them develop competencies like critical thinking, problem solving, decision-making skills, and tolerance for the differences of others. This is called being an adult, right? Those are things you have to do every day of your life. So if you could pay somebody to teach you valuable life skills, that would be a good thing to pay somebody to teach you. So next we're going to talk about the benefits, so the things that they found in this study. So these are the benefits of graduating from college. These are some of the areas. So health and well-being, self-development, civic and community engagement, intellectual and cognitive development, parenting, societal benefits, and personal economic outcomes. So that's the money part at the end. But we want you to know that there are a lot more to this than just money. So health and well-being. College graduates live longer lives. They are generally healthier. They have fewer problems with addiction, with substance abuse, with obesity, with depression, lots and lots and lots of benefits to your actual physical well-being if you graduate from college. Self-development, so this is a little bit more about what I was talking about earlier, is you really can develop into the person that you want to become, and you get to choose. That's the cool thing about being an adult, about being human, really. You can choose what kind of person you want to be, and going to college just gives you lots of venues, lots of opportunities, lots of interactions that help you decide what kind of person you want to become. So they have a better self-concept, better self-esteem, stronger social skills, openness to diversity and racial understanding, greater ability to make reasoned, reflective judgments, stimulating occupations, right? You don't want to work at 7-Eleven either, because it's the same thing all day, and flexibility, increased quality of life. So you really can open up a whole new world for yourself that's much better and happier, more flexible. Community engagement. So people who graduate from college develop a better sense of community. They understand the importance of one person inside of a community and how people work together. So they're more likely to engage in things like voting, donating blood, filling leadership roles, or just volunteering in general. So this is an obvious one that you would think about with college, intellectual and cognitive development. You are in school, so you are going to learn things. You're going to be better, a more well-rounded person as far as intelligence goes. You're going to have to take classes and learn things like math, social sciences, English, reading. This stronger teamwork and interpersonal skills, basically every class you have, they're going to say, we're going to do a group project. Probably because that means they have to grade fewer things in finals week, but it does help you develop skills because you have to work with people that you would probably never talk to otherwise. Also called being an adult. That's part of life. So it's a good skill to practice. Increased ability to integrate ideas and concepts. This is what Gail was talking about in her opening remarks of everything has a solution and it's not always money. So just being able to look at something creatively and say, how can I figure this out? How can I make this better? Those are things that you can develop by graduating from college. Parenting. This was a big one for me because when I had my daughter, I was in school and actually was sitting in this theater for my senior seminar class. They have business professionals come in and talk to you. And I was running late. I came in and Mary, I don't remember her last name, she's I think the vice president of Fishbowl, a local company, she was up here speaking about being a mom and being a businesswoman and having a job and a career. And I'm sitting there and my daughter was maybe 8 weeks old. And I was like just in the back, having an emotional breakdown. I'm like bawling, like, how did you do that? This is so hard. And my babysitter was late and I'm covered in throw up and everyone else looks nice and they're on time. And anyway, but I came back up and asked her after, how did you do this? And she just said, I don't believe in guilt. Whatever I'm doing, I give it 100%. And so when I'm a mom, I give it 100%. So when I'm not there, I know that I gave 100% to being a mom. And her advice actually got me through that entire semester that I thought, okay, I'm 100% at homework, I'm 100% at mom, I'm 100% at class, I'm 100% at housework. Whatever it is, I'm just going to do it for this amount of time. So that really made a difference in my life as far as parenting in college. So, but these benefits are actually hugely amazing, and they don't seem really correlated to graduating from college, but give birth to healthier babies. You have to take a nutrition class in college, and you understand the importance of things like the fact that your doctor went to school for a really long time, and he knows lots of things. So you go to your doctor, and when they say you should do this and you shouldn't do this, you listen to them, and your babies are healthier. And you spend more time reading to your children. Prepare your children better academically for school. Have children who participate in extracurricular activities. Provide a healthier lifestyle for your children. Work higher, paying more flexible jobs. Have more college-educated children who can better provide for self and families. Now, a little caveat here. If you're a mom sitting in this room and you didn't go to college, that does not mean you did not provide these things for your children. I'm just saying, if you're looking at it from the front end, these are things that, statistically speaking, are more likely to happen to you if you graduate from college, which they're all awesome. So they're worth, striving for. This is a quote from Brigham Young. The story goes, somebody told him he should make BYU an all-male school. And he said if he was going to make it all anything, he would make it all female. You educate a man, you educate a man. You educate a woman, you educate a generation. So that's pretty awesome. All right, societal benefits. So for every year of education greater in a community, there's a 30% decrease in the murder rate, which goes to show, because, murdering people, not great behavior, right? So the more educated you are, the more, as a community, the less people make really terrible choices. So almost 24% of adults without a high school diploma are poor. So education is the most critical deciding factor in poverty. 11% who are at least high school graduates are poor. Only 3.6% of college graduates are poor. So that means below the poverty level. So out of 100 people that graduated from college, 3.6 of those, 3.5. One of them is halfway poor. But it's actually, the more educated you are, the less likely you are to be poor, the less likely you are to be unemployed, and Luke's gonna go over some of those numbers later. So education has an impact on earnings, occupational status, and career mobility, so you don't ever have to feel stuck. If you have a college degree, you have options. You have a network, you have people, you have a great resume, you have internships, and all these other things on your side, so if you're not happy with where you're at, you have other places to go. This statistic floored me when I read it. So women who have degrees earn average incomes as much as 81% higher than women with no post-secondary education. 81%, that's a huge number. And this is not advanced degrees, this is an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, or a master's degree. So even 2 years of college, you can earn 81% more than if you didn't go at all. All right, so while Luke is coming down, because we're gonna go into the personal economic benefits, and this is Luke's wheelhouse, he's in the personal financial planning program. I just want you to consider all of those benefits. So we're about to go into personal economic, the money part, and then we'll go into kind of costs and how to go about going to college. So before we get to the stuff that's overwhelming, like financial aid and how much it's gonna cost, and you see numbers and you think, oh my gosh, that's so much money. Remember, this is your life you're talking about. So if at 27 you can be working a dead-end job or doing one thing and thinking of your life in an or instead of an and situation, you're gonna be 27 either way. You're gonna be 25 either way. One way you have a degree and you have options, and the other way you don't. So, you know, don't not start something because it's gonna take time, because time's gonna go anyway.
Thank you, Timi. So Timi is dynamite. Since she outed me, I have to out her. So Timi is one of the best students we've ever had in our program. She's really wonderful. She's got a warm personality that really cares about people, and she's also really smart and hardworking. And so that's perfect for her profession, financial planning, where you have to be good with numbers, but you also have to be good with people. So I've had a lot of employers come in and see Timi and say, how do I hire her? And I say, it's going to be really hard because she's already kind of locked up. So for our other female students, it's fun to watch. For these female students that are studying something in kind of that STEM field where women are underrepresented, the employers fight for you. So, and the way they fight is fun for you because that means they're having bidding wars trying to get you. So, my name is Luke Dean. I help run our financial planning degree program. UVU, I'm really indebted to them because this is a profession that not many universities offer a degree in, but UVU saw it as a great place to place their students. And so they created a program and then they kept investing in it, and now we've become top 5 in the US. So I'm really proud of the students coming out of the program and the program. My background, I got interested in money because I had a grandma and a mom that got me interested in money. My mom sat me down. I don't remember how old, but I know I was under 10, and she handed me a pamphlet called One for the Money by Marvin J. Ashton and said, you have to read this cover to cover. And that hadn't happened many times in my life where my mom forced me to read something cover to cover. And then my mom marched me at about age 12 to the local bank. It's closed now, First Security Bank. And she made me deposit $25 to open a bank account. And that was kind of exciting for me at age 12. Wow, I have my own bank account. And so now instead of walking down the street and blowing my money on candy, I kind of wanted to see that balance grow a little bit. And then she sent me off for a week to go visit my grandma in Northern California. And grandma was an investor. She would buy properties, she would buy stocks, and then she would hold these until they doubled in value, and then she would sell half and buy a new stock or a new property. And I'd never seen my parents buy stocks or properties. They kind of lived more paycheck to paycheck, but this was really exciting to see grandma's world. And then when grandma would buy a car, she would just go pay cash that she'd saved up rather than taking on a loan. So my interest in money was sparked by great women in my life. And I want to say also, my mom made a smart decision. She wanted every one of her kids to get a college degree. She couldn't Did I let the computer die? Thank you, Tara. She started by trying to help pay full tuition, and then she quickly realized when she had 3 kids hit college at the same time that her income could not afford to send 3 kids to college at the same time. So she started paying half, and what she expected was a rebellion from the younger children and resentment and grudges about how did you do this for the older kids and not for the younger kids. But what she found was an interesting social experiment. What she found is the ones she paid half came and gave her a lot more thank yous because they knew how hard it was to come up with 1/2, and they appreciated that she gave 1/2. And the way she gave 1/2 is she really couldn't afford it, so she got a job with the local university. And as an employee, they give your children half tuition. You've used a little more generous. We pay full tuition if you're faculty and staff. But so if you're in a job where maybe like you're my mom, you have an art degree that's not really going to go out and make a lot of money, at least go work at the local university and then your kids can come to school for free. So I appreciate the women in my life. They gave me a great head start. So I'm going to show you kind of the data points on this. So this is data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So the federal government collects data on all of the citizens across America. You kind of already know the federal government likes to monitor you. So on the green side, that's the income by education. So in the news lately, education's taken a hit saying, hey, is this even worth it anymore to get an education? So this is the data, and it shows if you don't even finish your high school diploma, you can go out and get a job and earn money. You'll earn about $444 a week. If you get your high school diploma and say, that's enough, I graduated high school, you can stop and you can go out and get a job. But you'll earn about $626 a week. If you even just start college and don't even finish, you'll get paid more. And then if you, as Timi said, if you get an associate's degree, and then if you complete that bachelor's degree, you'll make about $1,000 a week. So to put this into annual numbers, oops, there we go. It's not showing up as good as I wanted it to. I had it highlighted bold red, but I'll have to go from memory. I think if you get a high school diploma, it's about $22,000 a year, which is good, but it's very close to the poverty line. If you finish your bachelor's degree, somebody with a calculator do 1038 times 52. I think it's around the mid 50,000 per year. Everyone has their smartphones now, so what was that number, 1030? So you make about $53,000 a year. So if you finish with a high school diploma, you're making about $22,000 on average. If you get a college degree, you're making about $53,000 on average. So there's a dramatic difference where if you're going to work for the next 40 years, it's worth paying some college tuition for 4 years. If you go on and get an advanced degree like a master's, it's $66,000 per year on average. So I guess I forgot to talk about the downside. So the green is the upside. You make more income with more education. So we'd love to see you obtain as much education as possible. And yes, it is worth finishing your college degree. But it's even worth just starting. But we don't like to see you start and not finish. We want to see you finish. On the downside, that's the red. That's the unemployment rates. And you can see there is a risk in any profession, in any industry, that things could go south and they could have to lay people off and then you're unemployed even though you want to be working. And you can see that the less education you have, the more likely you are to have to deal with this issue. So you're already making less income and you're running a higher risk of being unemployed and not even able to make that income you wanted to make. Okay, this was in Utah. This made national news. One of our senators came out and said, we got to stop doing degrees to nowhere. And this made the national news, and it created big debates in Washington. And it is true. There are some degrees that just don't lead to a lot of opportunities. So when you come to college, one dirty little secret is we charge the same tuition, whether you do our top programs that are nationally ranked or whether you do our programs that no employer is searching for. You pay the same amount. It'll take you 4 years of work either way. One nice thing is in the states of Utah and Idaho, education is really affordable compared to other states. So just by choosing to do your education in Utah or Idaho, you've already made a great decision. The most expensive schools in Utah and Idaho are not the state universities or the private university down the street. It's the ITT Techs and the University of Phoenix online programs. And they cost a multiple of what the state schools cost. So yeah, they. So yeah, the tuition is astronomical. So she said at Stevens-Henniger it costs $21,000. Here at UVU, I believe we're around $3,000 for a semester. So I just plotted lifetime earnings. This is a website you can go to and you can type in the degree you want to study, and then they have data showing the incomes associated with those degrees for the next 40 years. And you can see, I put in some common ones. I see a lot of young women in Utah that say, I'm going to study nursing or elementary education. So I included those. Or we have a lot of women in our family, consumer science. I didn't have room to add that, but I'll just tell you, the family and consumer science was really, it's a great program. You'll learn a lot of neat things, but it won't lead to a lot of income. Then I put in, I just chose two from the STEM, the biochem, and then finance, because I run our financial planning program, so I've kind of had experience with that. So if you choose some of those STEM careers, you can see that the lifetime earnings are dramatically higher. Now, nursing was actually pretty good pay and pretty flexible hours, which a lot of women look for, the flexible hours, and we want you to get paid well for what flexible hours you want to work. This is kind of, instead of lifetime earnings, it's showing the annual earnings, and same thing. So we need wonderful elementary teachers, but in the state of Utah, we're not going to pay you. I married one of these women, and it was more money than we'd ever seen in our lives. It was $25,000 a year, but if you get a degree in one of these other areas, we have a young gal that just graduated our financial planning program that had 8 job offers, and one of them was for $60,000 starting. So maybe if my wife became the principal, that would happen, but not as the elementary teacher. I think we're starting to transition towards Tera. There were a few more points I wanted to make. There are a lot of things you can't control. So I love the culture here in Utah, and we have these optimistic, like any American, we have these optimistic dreams of what's going to happen with our life. But I just wanted to do a little wake-up call. So by show of hands, we're going to talk about some of the bad things that happen in families. So we're going to try not to get too personal. But I just want you to see the probability of these things happening. So think of your family and kind of your aunts and uncles, and just raise your hand if you've seen this happen to them. Raise your hand if somebody in your family or of your aunts and uncles or your grandparents, if one of the spouses died earlier than expected. Okay? Raise your hand if you've seen one of the spouses get divorced. Okay, raise your hand if you've seen one of the spouses get disabled in a way that they couldn't go to work for, a certain time period. Okay, raise your hand if you've seen one of those spouses lose their job unexpectedly. Okay, so are you kind of getting the point? I'm not trying to be, what's that guy's name that wears the black thing and comes when you're about to die? Yes, I'm not trying to be the Grim Reaper. I'm just trying to say we all have our life planned out, and in our life plans, we're going to have the white picket fence, and our kids will be healthy, and our marriage will work out perfectly, and we'll be perpetually young and healthy. But in real life, there's a 50% divorce rate. There's a 100% death rate. You just don't know when. There's 33% chance that someone's going to get disabled and will be unable to go to work for a certain time period and can't provide that income. So there's underemployment, health issues. So I guess what I'm saying is if you're going to do the work to get a college degree, get one that if your plan is to not work, at least get a degree that if that plan changes for some unexpected reason, that you have a marketable degree on the job market where you can go earn a decent income and pick up as many hours as you need to. And I guess the other way I like to drive the point home for my students is to say, we have a lot of wonderful women, and I want you to think of your little brother, preferably the most annoying one, and think, would you be willing for the next 40 years to be dependent on him? And now, later, you're getting married to somebody like that. That was somebody else's annoying little brother. I just want you to know, we're not in the "A Man is Not a Financial Plan" session, but I just had to throw that out there. That I love seeing these women come into our financial planning degree and knowing they're going to way out earn their spouse. Or if they choose to become a mom, at least they'll know a ton about how to manage their family's money. So thank you for attending this session. Tera has the nitty-gritty details on the cost of education. Here's my quick point. If you're going to do elementary ed, don't go pay Duke $50,000 a semester. Go as cheap and fast as you can. Now, if you're going to go to Duke, do finance and maybe make $200,000 a year. But be smart about where you go to school, the costs you take on to do it. Also be smart about what degree you choose. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you for the clicker. I need the clicker in case my computer dies. Okay, so the next slide actually says how to get the ball rolling. So I'm going to actually have you guys do a little activity to get the ball rolling. How many of you right now have $1 million you could loan me? Anybody? Hey, somebody said yes. Yes. All right, look, we've got a couple of takers. How many people can donate $1 million to the college for scholarships right now? How many people would love $1 million? Right? That's actually the question that somebody asked me before I got my college degree. I just barely graduated last August in 2014 with my bachelor's degree. So all of the statistics that you guys have been hearing about all night, they're actually true. I had girls in high school that I couldn't help them with their math. And guess what? When I did math in college, I got A's. And then I could start helping my girls with calculus. It's pretty cool to be a smart mom. Regardless of how much money you have, you can buy everybody everything, but when you're smart, you can do anything. So right now, my girls, I have one daughter on a mission, and I have one daughter that has 2 children, and I have an 11-year-old that is in school right now. So education for me is really important. I have another slide, the next one, to talk about that this is the sad news. Your cost of attendance is going to show, if you go to UVU, that it's going to cost you $15,000 a year to go to college. Who has $15,000 right now that they can write a check and take care of your college? Nobody. I have some good news. $15,000 includes your transportation, your rent. Who lives with their parents? Raise their hand. Who's going to stay with their parents while they're in college? Raise your hand. It's free food, free rent. Yes. I wished I could have moved in with my mom while I was going to college. Who is going to ride the bus? Raise your hand. Okay. Transportation is included in that. So there's a lot of things included in your transportation, in your cost of attendance. Your cost of attendance, though, is what you guys want to watch the closest while you guys are getting ready for your financial aid packages to be set. Your cost of attendance is how much financial aid you can get. That's the good news. So you really don't have to have $15,000 right up front, and your parents don't have to shell out a bunch of money either. So that's the good news. Utah is one of the lowest, and UVU is one of the lowest tuition rates. You guys can check out who's going to school in Utah. Who's going to go to school out of state? Okay, so for out of state, it's going to be a little bit more because of their cost of living. That's how their cost of attendance is evaluated. And did I go the wrong way? There we go. Okay, who knows how to budget your money? Nobody? I see like little baby hands. I can budget my money. Okay. Who thinks they could live off of, in 1 month, $400? Okay. So if you're going to live with your parents, I would say yes. If you're not going to live with your parents, I would say no, because your rent with a shared room is going to be about $350 with utilities included. So you can, but you're going to need to go back to somebody's house and eat food and ride the bus. So you can, and we can show you how to do that. So we, meaning the Women's Success Center, is kind of my next slide. Save early. Okay, so financial aid is really important, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Women's Success Center. So after I graduated, started working for the Women's Success Center, we found out that the biggest need that students needed was money. They waited until the very last minute when school started to say, I don't have enough money for books, or I don't have my housing figured out, or I don't have any money for anything. They were pretty strapped. They've been in different situations where I talked to a girl just the other day. She was actually living out at Utah Lake in a campground with her 8-year-old, and she's coming to us saying, how do I get into an apartment? So we help those kinds of students. We also help students that say, my parents made too much money and I don't qualify for financial aid, and they can only provide a roof over my head. We also have students that have saved and saved and saved and can afford to go to college and don't have to sweat it. So how many of you are going to work while you're in college? How many of you don't want to work while you're in college? You guys better all raise your hand, because I've got some good news. How many of you don't want to work when you're in college? Okay. Almost everybody. Most people, working is good. How many of you think that your college education is work? It's going to be work. How many of you think that college is more important than working while you're in school? Okay, so the trick is, and why we titled this Show Me the Money, if you can work, have you ever heard the saying, work harder? Work smarter, not harder. You have heard the saying. So the same thing applies to studying. Studying smarter, not harder. So if you can study more and get done with college faster, it's actually going to save you money. So if you cannot work by building your financial aid package, that would be awesome. So at the Women's Success Center, we have discovered a few myths that people think about scholarships and financial aid. So I'm going to actually call on people, and you guys are going to have to shout it out loud enough, and I'll repeat it so that everyone that's watching this can hear the question and answers. But I want to know, how many of you got a 4.0 in high school? Good job. How many of you that got a 4.0 got a scholarship? Okay, there's about 6 people that have raised their hands. So for the rest of you that didn't raise your hands and didn't get scholarships from getting a 4.0, how many of you think you can still get a scholarship? Okay, that's about 1/3 of the room says that they might be able to get a scholarship. How many people in the room, let me actually ask one specific question. Who can tell me if there are scholarships available for someone with a low GPA? Raise your hand if you can tell me if there is or not. Back in the back, very back row. There are scholarships. So one of the myth busters, one of the things that I've realized when I'm helping all you guys is that just because you didn't get a 4.0 in high school, you think you can't have a scholarship. Well, that is actually incorrect. Financial aid, FAFSA, if you apply for FAFSA, we'll talk about that in a second, starts at 2.0 and then it goes up from there. The higher your GPA, the more scholarships you'll probably be able to get, because some of them are with high GPAs, but you don't have to have a high GPA just to get a scholarship. There's a lot of different kinds. Let's see, what other myths have we come up with? The Women's Success Center. My mind just went blank, guys. Okay, I'm gonna have you do something really quick while I'm thinking about the Mythbusters. Please stand up if you are currently in high school and going to college at the same time. in concurrent enrollment or Jumpstart or anything like that. All right, that's amazing, guys. You guys can sit down. We had about 10 people stand up that are currently going to high school and going to college. They're gonna start college with their associate's degree. That's amazing. Stand up if you are currently going to UVU right now. Yeah. So we've got about 11 or 12 students that have stood up, and they are going to UVU right now. Stand up if you're almost done with college and you're going to be graduating next spring, if you're a senior. Woo, woo. So we had about 3 women stand up. That's awesome. So I want you to stand up if you have a daughter who is getting ready to go to college. All right, moms, we'll give you guys an applaud too. That's awesome. So I like to applaud the moms because education is important, and if your kids are getting ready to go to school, you can owe that to yourself. You can pat yourself on the back because it's important that your daughters get that education. I can't think of any other Mythbusters, so come to my table afterwards and I'll share them with you. Okay, so tips and tricks. The very first thing you have to do, it's super easy, you have to apply for scholarships. You have to apply for financial aid. If you were to spend 20 hours in a month applying for scholarships, and you received a $2,000 scholarship, let's say you applied for like 100 scholarships, and you received a $2,000 scholarship, how much money did you just make an hour out of that 20 hours? Somebody raise your hand and tell me the answer. Get your calculators out. In the back. $100 an hour? Yes, it's 100, you're right. You guys just made $100 an hour spending 20 hours. If you really spent 20 hours applying for scholarships, you would fill up your cost of attendance and you would be able to not work. You would be able to pay your rent right when you got your financial aid. You would actually get a refund after your schooling was paid for. I highly recommend applying for scholarships and applying for FAFSA. FAFSA is the very best way, even if you think you're not gonna get it, apply for it anyway. Okay, so every university has scholarships. Okay, there's about 3,600 people that apply, and we have about 30,000 students. So there's a very, very small group of people that actually take the time to apply for scholarships. However, there's only about 900 scholarships that are available. So you've got to write a good essay. Your essays are super important. It actually is what stops most people from applying for scholarships because they don't feel like they're a good enough writer, or they don't have a good enough story, or they don't think they want to compete. Make sure to get your teachers to help you, get your moms to help you, take it to a writing lab, have someone online help you. Your essay is really important. You only have to write it once. After you write it, you can use it for every single other scholarship that you have, that you can get your hands on. Okay, this is a scholarship application for UVU. Does that look intimidating? It does? Oh my gosh, it's so easy. You click that little button, apply now, and you click a couple check boxes, and then you take your essay and you copy and paste it, and you submit it, and you're done. It seriously takes that long if you have your essay written. So, and if you need help, you can always come to the Women's Success Center, and we can help you navigate through that, and you can also go to the financial aid department. Just turn it off. That was awesome. Okay, so this is a list that I want you to hurry and write down because you're never going to see it again. No, I'm kidding. This is a list of outside scholarships. These are nationwide scholarship links. So the Women's Success Center has gone through, and we have vetted the scholarships that you can click on that aren't going to charge you. So you do not ever want to pay for scholarship information. You do not ever want to pay anyone to send you a book or to send you more information about scholarships. You want to make sure that your application is free and that you're not going to jump into a phishing scam so that you get a million emails from all different kinds of schools, which actually happened to me. So this is super important that you go and Google it. Who knows how to use Google? Everybody raise your hand. Okay, so you're gonna Google your scholarship. Let's say you're going to be a biochemist. you're gonna look up biochemist scholarships in Utah or whatever state you're in. And you're going to look for some really important things. Do they have scholarships available? When is the deadline? Deadlines are important. UVU's deadline, everybody that's planning on go to UVU, please write this down. If you're a new student, your deadline for scholarships is February 1st, the year before you start school in the fall. Most people don't know that. They finish high school or they finish out the spring semester, and during the summer they start looking, and it's almost too late. So February 1st. If you're a returning student or a transfer student, is March 1st. So if you're going out of state, check the deadlines. All of these scholarships, check the deadlines. They're all different, but you want to make sure to get your application in on time. Okay, so if you are a UVU student or going to be a UVU student or at any other school, this is actually the same thing at every school across the state. It's just in different colors depending on what school you go to. The green highlighted area at the top is financing and paying for your education. This is where you're actually going to see what FAFSA did for your financial aid package. Over on your right, the financial aid menu is what you're going to click on to look at your cost of attendance. It's individual for every single person, so I didn't pull one up for just a random person, because your financial aid package is going to be built by the school and by FAFSA. So you'll be able to see how much money you can actually get in scholarships. You can actually get too much money, and that's happened to me before. So in one semester, I was able to get $9,000 in a return because of my scholarships, after my tuition was paid for and everything else. So I ran a 5K, took last place, yes, and got a $2,000 scholarship. The point of that is to be creative. I know someone that actually entered a contest and made a duct tape wedding dress. How cool would that be? And she won a $5,000 scholarship, split over 4 years. So scholarships are important. We have a ton of scholarships listed on our newsletter as well, so I'm going to tell you about that in a second. Okay, so your financial aid summary is going to be important no matter what school you go to. You guys start checking that before you graduate high school, before you step foot on campus. If you wait until you go to school to start working on your financial aid, it's going to be painful, and you're going to have to work really hard, and you're probably even going to have to work full-time to pay for it all, because everyone else has started in February when those deadlines are. Okay, so this is how the cost of attendance is broken down, so you can see it just a little bit more clearly. They'll tell you, like, if you Google how much is it going to cost me to go to school at UVU, they'll tell you it's going to cost you $15,000. But look how it's broken down. Your tuition and fees are just a little smidgen of that, right? And then your room and board, what if you live at home? There's $5,000 in scholarships that you can find, or grants. And what if your books and supplies, what if you get really crafty and you start trading books out with your friends and you don't have to pay for books? Then that goes down, that's more scholarship money you can get. So basically that $15,000, that's the set cost of attendance for this year, that's how much financial aid you can get through scholarships, grants, and any other kind of financial aid, including student loans. At the table discussions earlier, somebody said, you know, which ones do I have to pay back? Are you guys all wondering the same thing? Okay, so tuition waivers, you do not have to pay back, and those usually come with academic scholarships. Scholarships of any type from A to Z, you do not have to pay back. They are scholarships. And grants. Grants, you don't have to pay back either. There's one caveat. If you don't meet the criteria in the middle of the semester, your grades drop below whatever their criteria is set, you can end up owing that back. So there is a chance you have to pay it back, but if you finish your semester and you stay above a 2.0, you won't have to pay any of that money back. So loans are the only thing that you have to pay back. If you do have to take out loans, guys, take out subsidized. Subsidized loans are the way to go. You have, a credit, sorry, I just got my 5-minute warning and I lost my train. Okay, so Subsidized loans, I'm back on track, don't start accruing interest until 6 months after you graduate or drop out of school, okay? So, very quickly, this is so important that you guys take a screenshot in your mind of this FAFSA application. There are a ton of scams out there. So make sure you apply for fafsa.ed.gov. And the Women's Success Center has a newsletter. Whether you go to school here or whether you go to school somewhere else or whether your kids do, everyone should be on our newsletter and get all the good information. We only send it out twice a month, but it does have the quick links on the side is the most important. We have ways that you can donate to scholarships so that you can help other people with scholarships, but we also have a lot of different quick links so that you can get scholarships and you don't get lost in all that traffic when you are applying for scholarships. And you can also drop into our office anytime. So to get the newsletter and this presentation and the slides, all the information and all the links to all the scholarships around the country, text graduate to 22828, or you can come to one of our tables or our booths out in the hall and you can grab one of our flyers or our name cards. But for those of you that are televised right now, go ahead and text graduate to 22828 and you'll get a copy of our newsletter. If you don't want to sign up for the newsletter but want to read it, you can also go to our website and you can grab the newsletter there. You can read the current copy anytime we put one out. And the Women's Success Center goal is to graduate females because of our graduation rates. We measure our success based off of your success. There's lots of opportunities out there. I would highly recommend going to college if you're considering it, and I would definitely recommend graduating. It's been one of the best things in my life, besides having my children, having a degree. My specific degree isn't the best part because I could have majored in anything and so can you. The best part is that I have a piece of paper that said that I completed that degree, and I can walk in anywhere with my piece of paper that says I have a bachelor's degree and get any job. But you guys get to be creative, get your way through college, pay your way through college, don't work your way through college, work hard on scholarship applications so that you can study smarter and work smarter, and go to college. And it is okay to be a poor college kid. I talked to somebody the other day and she was totally having a meltdown because she had just graduated and she wasn't ready to be graduated, and she just wasn't ready to be graduated because she got so used to the school life. So have a backup plan. What are you going to do when you get done with college? Start thinking about where you want to work. Where do you want to work and how much money do you want to earn? And that will guide you through choosing your classes and with how much financial aid that you need. So if any of you have decided from being here tonight that you are now going to graduate from a college, will you please raise your hand? Okay, that's pretty much 3/4 of the room. And for the rest of you, you probably already have a degree, and that's what I'm going to assume, so good for you. Okay, so I think it's worth it. I know, and Gail mentioned it, and Timi mentioned it, and so did Luke, that going to college is worth it.
Thank you. I'm going to give you 2 more tips for a minute, and then Timi's going to wrap things up. So here's a surefire, 100% guaranteed scholarship. I know it sounds fake, but every university in the state of Utah does it the same way. 12 credits cost the same as 18. So if you haven't done what you need to and listened to Tera to get a scholarship, just by taking 18 credit hours per semester, after you do 2 semesters, you worked in a free semester, tuition free, room and board free. You avoided all of that cost. So I love to see students doing 18 credit hours. They maybe don't spend as much time on my homework as I want them to because they're stretched thin, but I applaud it. Another surefire scholarship is most universities will give scholarships to incoming students that have really high ACT, really high GPA. Let's say you didn't take care of business in high school for 4 years. There's a quick trick. Once you get to college, the chalkboard is erased and you start clean again. No matter what you did in high school, it's now what you did here on our campus that counts. And so We do scholarship applications in February, so there's only one semester for an incoming freshman. If you come in, and even if you take easy classes, if you come in and get a 4.0 that first semester, when you apply for scholarships, you'll probably get a full ride because you're a 4.0 student on our books now. So I'd love to see you do good in high school for 4 years, but if you do good in college your first 4 months, your next year is free. So I know you came hoping to get something. I hope that helped you get something. So here's Timi, and please be a great student like Timi. She didn't just do school. She was at the front of the class. She got involved in our clubs. She was the president of like 4 of them. So when employers say we want your best, it's really easy to point to the best.
Thank you. So we're just going to wrap it up really fast because we're past time. But so I hope you gals leave here understanding that a college education is more than a way to get a great job. It's a way to develop as a person. It's a way to become the woman that you want to be, to become the mother that you want to be the wife you want to be, or the leader, the community leader. It really helps you round yourself off, develop, and understand how you can keep doing that for the rest of your life. This is at the end of Susan's research, and I just thought it's awesome. It says, Utah women in particular, as well as those who influence them, parents, high school teachers, counselors, community and church youth leaders, would benefit from looking more broadly at the overall worth of a college education. Formal post-secondary education is a critical foundation for Utah girls and women of all ages to be able to fully develop themselves toward reaching their inherent potential. So I don't know all of you, but I don't have to know you to know that you're all awesome. You all have something amazing that's unique to you. So be the most amazing version of yourself. Do yourself a favor, invest in yourself, go to school. It's hard, sometimes it's terrible, but it is totally worth it. You are gonna love having that degree. You're gonna love being empowered. You're gonna love your life so much more if you invest in it and you do it. So I hope that you guys, gals, all make a plan, have a goal, write it on a poster, draw a picture of it, put it in your room, put it in your locker, put it as your phone background, and look at it all the time. This is who I wanna be. This is what I wanna become, because your mind is gonna find a way to make that happen if you have a goal. If you're just gonna meander, you're gonna just meander. That's it. You're gonna get wherever you end up. So make a plan, have a goal, and do it. So I hope that you're all empowered and feeling awesome. They have some handouts in the back that kind of go over what we've talked about and give you links to the Utah education information that's online. So have a great evening.